once again, it's humbling to be the guy that Whit has decided to lead us the last 2 weeks, and I'm just going to be me and do everything I can for these kids.
And then, JC, in terms of the players' reaction, everything, and if you kind of had an open door policy, if anybody wants to talk about being uneasy about their futures, or how and what's the reaction? I know you mentioned resilience, but I have to imagine the uncertainty is hard to deal with for your coach as well. But in terms of the players, you had a lot of those conversations one-on-one, or just when you've met with the team, has that kind of sufficed? How have they kind of reacted to the last couple of days?
There's no playbook for what we're going through. The timing of it was the timing of it. No one picks a perfect time to give someone bad news. There is no good time to give bad news, and so I understand the situation, how it came about, but to do it on Tuesday was tough. And once we broke the team meeting, I think the position coaches did a great job of rallying the young men, of being psychologists probably more than anything. And there was probably not much football talked that morning prior to practice. And to the kids' credit, it was an incredible practice. The kids came out, it was obviously somber, don't get me wrong, but considering the circumstances and what they went through, just being prior to going on a practice field on a Tuesday, those kids practiced their hind butts off. They did everything we asked them to do. And it was impressive how those kids responded. And I think when you have a team that, one, has gone through so many just heartbreaking close losses like we have, on top of how their COVID season went. Now, I know I was not here, but I understand that I know what happened. One, because this is my school. And two, you hear the players and the coaches describe what happened during the COVID season. So I think that allowed them to be able to rebound from this in a way that I never thought they would be able to do so quickly.
Missy, I think a lot of coaches maybe early in their careers envision themselves someday being a head coach. Did you ever envision that? Was that something on your radar when you were a younger coach?
Of course it is. I think anybody who gets into this business wants to be in charge. And if they tell you they don't, I would call them a liar. Because I think there's a process I think every coach goes through, a young coach. You have to learn how to coach. You're GA, you become a position coach, you become a coordinator, and then you think one day, well, I'm gonna be a head coach. And then there's only so many jobs out there. And for me to be sitting here as an interim head coach is just, I don't think I ever in my wildest dreams thought that would happen. And to have my head coach after my name at Virginia Tech, I don't think there's a greater honor.
You're playing Miami this week. Mm-hmm. Obviously, you have a history with them as old Big East rivals. Anything stand out from your times of playing Miami back in the day that a good memory?
Oh yeah, obviously the one that will come to mind is the first time we beat them in '95, my senior year. I think I had a good game that day. I'm not sure. But just what it took to overcome, how far ahead they were talent-wise. They were better than us in the early '90s, and by the mid '90s we overtook them. And then from then on, until probably the middle 2000s, we dominated them. And so that was great to see, and great to be a part of. And I've been a part of a lot of great things at this university. But when you talk about, again, overcoming adversity in 1995, we lose to a good BC team, we lose to Cincinnati out here in the mud, and a team that was preseason ranked, now we're sitting at 0-2, and to find a way to go beat a team that you've never beaten, I think that speaks volumes of that team in 1995. But there's all kinds of teams that are like that in the history of Virginia Tech. 2010 team started out 0-2. So that I'm just pressing upon these guys that our story is not written. Our book's not finished. What's it going to say? At the end of the day, if we can find a way to win one, maybe 2 games, then maybe this team would be, remembered as the most resilient, mentally tough team that Virginia Tech's ever had to overcome what they have gone through in the last 2 years. No other team has had to overcome what they've gone through. And if we can get that done, I'll tip my hat to the kids, because it's about them.
Do you remember your message to the team after, I think I read that you sort of spoke to the team after that Cincinnati loss in 1995, addressing the team. Do you remember that saying? Was it
Not
emotional?
particularly. I'm sure it was emotional. And I know, I don't really recall much of what was said, and it was probably profanity laced, so it was probably not for print, but it was, seniors have to lead, and that's what we did on that team. We had really good players, really good leaders, and the senior class that year, we'd like to think was a big part of what Virginia Tech became, and now we're not that far away from being that. In my heart of hearts, we could easily be 7-2, 8-1, but we're not. So, what is that? We're going to finish writing this book the next 2 weeks, and I just get to sit in the head chair. That's all.
Okay,